Look here. One question.
Yes?
What's your favorite instrument?
Stewardess.
You play them all. It's dirty. It's dirty.
No, listen. I don't know. It depends on the song. It depends on the color. They all sound differently. It's very strange. I try to stay original in my work, and a lot of sounds have been used now, and I'm looking for new instruments and new sounds and new rhythms. And I got a lot of surprises. I don't want to give them all away.
So it's April 1982, and with the Controversy tour over, Prince begins to put together an all-girl trio to be called the Hookers. The group were to dress in lingerie and high heels and sing songs about sexual desires and fantasies. Prince had been playing with the idea for a while, and an early possible lineup for the group featured Prince's then girlfriend Susan Moonsey, her sister Loreen Moonsey, and Prince's personal assistant at the time, Jamie Shoup. They took a few Polaroid photos together, with the girls dressed in lingerie and Jamie chain-smoking, and it's rumoured a few demo tracks were recorded at the time. However, Prince put the project on the back burner to focus on the upcoming Controversy tour. It was while on the Controversy tour that Prince first met Denise Matthews, a young Canadian model and B-movie actress. It was often reported that they first met at the American Music Awards in January 1982, where she was the date of funk star and so-called rival Rick James. The story was she arrived with James and then met Prince, who asked her to be in his all-girl group, stealing her away from the James camp. However, according to photographer Alain Beaulieu, who was travelling with Prince on the tour, she harassed the crew for backstage passes on various tour stops, and eventually Beaulieu introduced her to Prince, who then asked her to be in the group. Denise refused Prince's first idea to rename her Vagina, and eventually Vanity was chosen for her and the group's name. The group was rounded off with Susan Moonsey and Brenda Bennett, who was working on the Controversy tour. Brenda was the wife of Roy Bennett, the tour's set and lighting designer. A former member of the Tombstone Blues Band in the early to mid-70s, Brenda was helping out with hair and makeup for Prince and the band. Vanity 6's debut album was recorded in just a few weeks during the spring of 1982, and at the same time Prince laid down tracks for the Time's second album, What Time Is It? Most of the tracks were recorded in Prince's basement studio, which now featured a 24-track recorder. Other tracks also recorded during this period included Fill You Up, Irresistible Bitch and Possessed. Prince had also started using a new Lindrum machine and lots of synth overdubs, which resulted in a new, more electronic sound and drastically different from anything he had done before. On the 24th of May 1982, Prince is voted Musician of the Year at the second annual Minnesota Music Awards. After receiving his award at the Prom Center in St. Paul, Prince asked, "When are they going to give one for the best ass?" During the summer of 1982, Prince records his next album, 1999, at his home studio. Bobby Z recalls the summer months spent on 1999 as a period of intense creativity, when Prince's musical credo was anything goes. He knew it was back to dance. There wasn't any more of the Ronnie Talk to Russia kind of songs. There was some weird stuff, but it was still very funky. I think he found his groove, and the groove never left. On the 11th of August 1982, Vanity 6's debut album is released. Once again, mostly a Prince one-man band effort, the production and arrangements were credited to Vanity 6 and the Star Company. The songs were credited to one or all three members of the group, with some a collaboration with Des Dickerson and Time members Jesse Johnson and Terry Lewis. However, at the ASCAP Copyright Office, Prince as Jamie Starr is registered as writer of 7 of the 8 tracks, with If a Girl Answers Don't Hang Up being written in collaboration with Terry Lewis and Bite the Beat with Jesse Johnson. The 8th track, He's So Dull, was written by Des Dickerson. Musically, the album is a little look at what's to come on 1999, with synth-heavy tracks, also using the Lindrum machine for the first time. Most of the tracks have an electro-pop sound, but there are also a couple of pop efforts, like the Blondie sounding He's So Dull.
He's so dull and he won't get anywhere with me. He's always calling on the telephone.
Elsewhere, Prince makes an appearance impersonating a woman in a Morris Day-style voice on If a Girl Answers, Don't Hang Up.
Well, sugar, I know about a great party. Why don't you bring us your car?
So sorry, baby, but I never go to singles bars.
Singles? Is that what you think? Tramp, I'm dating your dad.
Oh, he died about 7 years back. Now ain't that just too bad?
Well, that's how we like him.
The album's highlight is its opening track, Nasty Girl, which is just Minneapolis funk synth heaven.
'Cause tonight I'm living in a fantasy, my own little nasty world. Tonight, don't you wanna come with me?
The main talking point of the album was the sexually forthright lyrics on most of the tracks. The album is obsessed with sex, with tracks like Wet Dream self-explanatory and Bite the Beat oral sex, Nasty Girl and Drive Me Wild dealing with seduction and the act itself. The album sold almost 500,000 copies and reached number 6 on the Black Albums chart and number 45 on the Pop Albums chart. 4 singles were released, with Nasty Girl having the most success, reaching number 7 on the Black chart. On the 25th of August 1982, hot on the heels of Vanity's album, came the Time's second album, What Time Is It? And despite the fact that the Time had become a strong live band after touring extensively with Prince, when it came to the album, it was still more or less all done by Prince. Prince, as Jamie Starr, wrote all the tracks barring Wild and Loose, which was a collaboration with Des Dickerson. The album is considered by many to be the best Time album, and features the incredible funk jam of 777-9311, famously Des Dickerson's phone number, who wasn't best pleased and had to have it pulled after constant phone calls.
777-9311. I wanna spend the night with you if that's alright.
Another funk workout, The Walk, featuring Vanity. It also features the popular and probably best Time ballad, Gigolos Get Lonely Too.
Contrary to rumor, Gigolos.
The album was a bigger hit than the first, going gold, 500,000 copies in the US, and reaching number 2 on the top Soul LPs chart, and number 26 on the Billboard 200. 3 singles were released, with 777-9311 having the most success, reaching number 2 on the Black Singles chart, and number 88 on the Billboard chart. On the 27th of October 1982, Prince's 5th album, 1999, is released. A dazzling array of styles, the ambitious double LP allowed Prince to indulge, with most tracks 6 to 8 minutes long. It took some persuading from Prince's management to get Warner's to release it as a 2-record set. However, in England, they didn't think it merited a double album, so they released 7 tracks as a single album in February of 1983, which was eventually replaced in November of 1983 by the full double LP set. With 1999, Prince started to gain the mass recognition he had striven for, and the album established him as a huge star in the States. The sales of the album were initially sluggish, but after the success of the singles 1999 and Little Red Corvette, as well as the 1999 tour, the album went gold in the States in January 1983. The album sold over 1 million copies in the States, eventually exceeding 4 million copies. Sales in Europe were also better than for any previous album, with the single and double LP versions selling close to 1 million copies. Like Prince's previous albums, 1999 was very much a solo effort. However, there were contributions from Jill Jones and Vanity on backing vocals, and Des Dickerson plays guitar solo on Little Red Corvette. The album's cover also features the first appearance of the band's name, The Revolution, printed in reverse. 1999 sees Prince exploring a new musical style, with his use of synths combined with some imaginative programming of the Linn drum machine. The album's title track is a blend of funk, pop and rock, and sees Prince celebrating the new millennium 17 years early, inspired by the escalating tensions between Russia and the US and the threat of nuclear war, and drawing from popular predictions that the world would end in the year 2000. It sees Prince singing, "The sky was all purple, there were people running everywhere. Trying to run from this destruction, you know I didn't even care."
Say 2000, party over, out of time.
Elsewhere we have the incredible Little Red Corvette, a fantastic catchy pop and rock track. Also the infectious synth hook driven rock and roll of Delirious. There are incredible funk jams of Lady Cab Driver and the 9-minute Automatic. And Let's Pretend We're Married includes the most risque lyrics on the album, with Prince claiming he wants to fuck the taste out of your mouth.
You Martian, I'm not saying it's just to be nasty. I sincerely want to fuck the taste out of your mouth.
There is a seduction ballad in the style of Do Me Baby with International Lover, which sees Prince taking the object of his desires on a flight aboard the Seduction 747 with himself as pilot.
Good evening. This is your pilot, Prince speaking. You are flying aboard the Seduction 747.
Other highlights include DMSR, which summed up Prince's manifesto. I don't want to be a poet, because I don't want to blow it. I don't care to win awards. All I want to do is dance, play music, sex, romance, try my best to never get bored. It has a fantastic synth rock beat, and the track became a huge live favourite over the years. Elsewhere we have Free, which is a beautiful ballad with Prince in a reflective mood. Be glad that you are free, free to change your mind, free to go almost anywhere, anytime. Be glad that you are free, there's many a man who's not. Be glad for what you have, baby, what you got. There is also some incredible experimental tracks with Something in the Water Does Not Compute, which includes one of Prince's best screams on a record. And the pounding electronic funk of All the Critics Love You in New York is superb and sees Prince mocking his music critics, citing all the things he can do and they will still love him. You could cut off all your hair, I don't think they'd care, in New York. All the critics love you in New York. The critics' response to the album was excellent, with glowing reviews. Rating the album very good and giving it 4 stars, Rolling Stone's review by Michael Hill praised the album's versatility. Tony Mitchell from Sounds commented, "This double LP has given Prince the freedom to stretch, to really flex his musical muscles, and the result is a much more eclectic style of dance music than conventional black American disco. Some things change and some remain the same. What have remained the same are the sexually obsessed lyrics and the economic punchy feel of the arrangements. What have changed are the qualities of the instrumentation, now richer, more considered and much more electronic, and the man's vocal style." The album produced 5 singles: 1999, Little Red Corvette, Delirious, Automatic and Let's Pretend We're Married. 1999 reached number 44 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and number 4 on the US Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. It was also released again in 1983, reaching number 25 on the UK Singles chart, number 8 in Belgium and number 2 in Australia. It was also re-released in the US and this time made it to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Little Red Corvette gave Prince his first top 10 hit in the US Billboard Hot 100, reaching number 6, and reached number 2 in the UK. The videos to both 1999 and Little Red Corvette were amongst the first videos by a black artist to make it onto MTV. Delirious charted at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also made it to number 33 in New Zealand. Automatic was released as a single in Australia only, but failed to chart. Let's Pretend We're Married charted at number 52 in the Billboard Hot 100 and number 55 on the Black Singles chart. On the 11th of November 1982, Prince begins the 1999 tour, a 5-month tour taken in 93 shows across America. Featuring Vanity 6 and The Time as support acts, it was dubbed the Triple Threat Tour and was the longest tour Prince had undertaken at the time. The band line-up was the same as the Controversy Tour, with the addition of Jill Jones on background vocals. A typical set list consisted of Controversy, Let's Work, Little Red Corvette, Do Me Baby, Head, Uptown, How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, Lady Cab Driver, International Lover, 1999 and DMSR. The stage setup for the tour was the same as the Controversy tour, with the giant Venetian blinds. However, Prince added new props, including a brass bed. The lighting was improved and featured rotating turquoise police lights and deep shades of purple, pink and red. Prince also updated his look from the previous tour, adding a new purple trench coat. Reviews for the shows were positive. Don McLeese of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote, "A 3-day stand at the Auditorium Theatre represents the sort of success most acts would envy. Even so, when one considers that Prince has everything it takes to be one of the biggest stars that music has known, he still seems very much on his way up. For hot rhythms and hot showmanship, the show eclipsed every concert in recent memory. Since the last time Prince was in town." Comparing Prince's show to some of rock's greatest performances, Los Angeles Times' Robert Hilburn wrote, "Among the landmark post-60s events that come quickest to mind, David Bowie's 1972 Ziggy Stardust Tour, Bruce Springsteen's 1975 Born to Run Tour, the Sex Pistols' 1978 Anarchy in the US Tour, Prince's tour has the same revolutionary aura about it." During the tour, the Times performances as opening act began to attract as much attention as Prince's main show, and they began to upstage him, so much so that on some of the major cities on the tour, the Time were demoted from the bill. Morris Day believed the Time were becoming a threat to Prince, adding the Time's success caught many by surprise. "I think the whole thing was never expected to be anything more than an opening act. There used to be some arguments before going on stage about things I would do that were conflicting with the things that Prince would do. I was told not to do certain things, certain dances."
You play in the black urban areas and the people go nuts. The black crowds would eat us up, and then sometimes he'd have a little problem out there when he comes out there doing his rock thing.
We had really come into our own as a band, and Prince, I think, was torn. Sometimes like a happy father watching his kids go out there. But then when we toured with him, he had this big light show, and we'd get like about 4 lights, Prince was absolutely a control freak.
On the 25th of March 1983, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis failed to make it to the concert in San Antonio. They had been working on sessions with the SOS band in Atlanta and found themselves snowed in at the airport. Terry Lewis said, "In my career, that was the most hurt I'd ever been. I felt like I'd let the other folks down. I felt really bad about it." For the show, Jerome Benton strapped on the bass and pretended to play while Prince stood in the shadows, playing Terry Lewis's bass lines, while Jill Jones stood in for Jimmy Jam. No explanation was demanded at the time, and the tour went on. However, at the end of the tour, both Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were fired from the band by Prince. During the tour, Prince was seen constantly writing notes in a purple notebook. Jill Jones said he had been keeping notes longer than any of us really knew. He had a purple notebook he walked around with everywhere. When we were out on tour, he'd sit on the bus writing. Prince was planning something that would catapult him to megastardom. By the following year, there would hardly be a household across the world who hadn't heard of Prince. The Purple Rain was about to begin.